There's this big discussion going on about George S. and Ronnie D. And I want to play a clip, and this is what's causing the big discussion. I think it's good discussion. We're just chopping it up. Not too serious. Only the fate of the world lies on stuff like this, but no, I'm serious. It's not too serious. Here's George S. on. Notice how he talks about Grandpappy Don and compared to Ron DeSanctimonious.
2024 is that Trump and Governor DeSantis of Florida.
It's hard to understand. Let me bring it back.
2024 is that Trump and Governor DeSantis of Florida will slug it out for the Republican nomination. Trump has turned into a pitiful figure, continually bemoaning his loss in 2020. Big Republican donors are abandoning him in droves. DeSantis is shrewd, ruthless, and ambitious. He is likely to be a Republican candidate. 2024.
So let me break it down. He's saying in 2024, he's reading off a script, it looks like. There's a paper in front of him. So he's saying, okay, let's talk about 2024. I do need to see this whole video in context because this is a very kind of poignant moment here.
Is that Trump and Governor DeSantis.
So if George S. says 2024 is going to come down to Trump and DeSantis, then 2024 is probably going to come down to Trump and DeSantis. How old is George S.? George, is he 90? I believe he's in his 90s now. Let me see his age. Yep, 92. So I know he sounds like Damian H. says, his voice reminds me of the film 1984. Yeah, he's 92 years old, so it'll do that. But let's listen to this here.
Of Florida will slug it out for the Republican nomination.
Okay, George S. says Trump and DeSantis will slug it out figuratively for the 2024 Republican nomination.
Trump has turned into a pitiful figure.
Trump has turned into a pitiful figure. I wonder why he said turned. But he's dissing Trump here. That's the point.
Continually bemoaning his loss in 2020.
I can't comment how I feel about that comment on him talking about what happened during the last process without getting banned from YouTube.
Big Republican donors are abandoning him in droves.
That might be true. I think that's why he came out with the Ron DeSanctimonious blast. What's your point, George?
DeSantis is shrewd, ruthless.
Oh, so now he goes to DeSantis, and he doesn't have that same energy for DeSantis about pitiful figure and all this other stuff. DeSantis is shrewd, ruthless. Coming from George, that's not a diss. Shrewd, ruthless, no diss.
And ambitious.
And ambitious, no diss. Did not diss Ron DeSanctimonious.
He is likely to be a Republican candidate. 2024.
So just that clip right there caused a big controversy with people saying, hey, it's kind of like George S. had a certain energy about Grandpappy, but he didn't have that same energy about Ronnie D. I'm not saying that means anything definitively, but as we see a theme here, Ronnie D is going to have to, at least for me, kind of distance himself or indirectly kind of figure out how do you navigate these waters where there are people that I don't align with on many things. And when they talk about you, they don't seem to have that same energy and hatred. And it almost hurts him. The Gateway Pundit had an article about that. They basically just talked about the same thing I'm talking about here. And we've been going back and forth on Twitter. It's been a lot of conversation about this. I'll just give you a little taste of the conversation on where this is going. Let me share my screen here. So the conversation's going back and forth, kind of like with the whole DeSantis crew and then the Trump crew. And a lot of people don't like this kind of infighting, but it's not infighting to me. I don't know if we're on the same team. I really don't. And when we look at DeSantis nationwide, Florida, I think he's been fine. But I said, I'm not going to say DeSantis is owned by Georgie, but it seems as if Georgie prefers DeSantis over Trump, which is definitely newsworthy. If you just take that clip, it could be out of context. Maybe he went on and dissed DeSantis. I don't know yet. But he didn't have the same energy. Somebody said he's not endorsing DeSantis. He's warning his allies that DeSantis could beat Dondada and pose a bigger threat to Trump. That could be true, but that's not what he said in the clip. He said that DeSantis was savvy, whatever, ruthless, and ambitious. He didn't say anything about a warning that he could beat Trump and pose a bigger threat than Trump. He didn't say that. So Ron DeSantis is probably like, Georgie, if you could keep my name out of your mouth, that would be a good thing. He hasn't even announced yet, and Georgie's talking about him. So DeSantis needs to come. I think DeSantis needs to come and do something real quick, in my opinion. But who knows? I mean, he would obviously way more politically savvy than me, but it just seems like he needs to come out and do something. People are going back and forth. You see the Georgie with DeSantis as the puppet. I'm not going that route. I'm just showing you what other people are. I don't see enough evidence for that. I'm not going that route. Everybody's like, interesting, is DeSantis with Georgie? So people are asking questions. These are people who are fully engaged. Most people don't know what's going on, so take that with a grain of salt. But for those who are paying attention, I'm taking a look at it. There's a lot of things here. People quote tweeted, people use this quote, and they were going at it. Somebody said, this is why our party is weak. Kim said this. He did not endorse him. I voted for Pappy last time, but people like you are why I probably won't again. This is a lie, but keep spreading it, I guess. Makes you no better than the left, unedited and no endorsement, but saying it will be between. So Citizen Free Press said Soros on 2024 GOP nomination. I don't think Citizen Press never said he endorsed DeSantis, so I don't know. It looks like a straw man argument. Citizen Press just basically said, here's what he said. Why are you in your feelings so much about it? Real sensitive. So other people were showing, here's DeSantis declaring war on Soros. So he went after a Soros DA in Florida. What's his name? I forgot his name already. Did a video on him, but I forgot his name. Booted him up out of there. So I'm not saying that DeSantis is, I'm just saying this is something he's going to have to overcome. So that's all I'm saying. I don't even need to go down that rabbit hole anymore.